It's another Saturday when we bring you your favorite security and safety tonic on television, Security Watch Africa. Only on this channel, the Africa Independent Television, will bring you that program. Welcome to the program. Today, my name still remains Patrick Abambo. It's been a week of mixed feelings and reactions for us here in that communication. Yes, it has been a mourning period, but to me, I believe that for me, I'm celebrating a life well spent of our chairman emeritus. Yes, he will ever remain the chairman emeritus, either in death or in living, because he worked for very long years to ensure that this dream becomes a reality, a dream to educate Africans, not just Nigerians, on the proper information and give the news. It's something that some of us have taken as a challenge, that we must live to immortalize his life and immortalize the legacies which he left behind, which is ensuring that the people are well informed and educated. Welcome to the program. The BERA program activity have started already from Lagos, then Abuja. There will be a service of songs, mass will be held in his honor. There will be tributes also at the ICC, and his corpse will be taken for burial in Aganigboda in his hometown, and on the 22nd he will be led to the Mother Earth. But that begins a new life, because I know that he will be watching over the legacy he has left behind here on earth. Even though he's not physically here with us, I know that his spirit is ever with us. I know it's a sad time, but we must move ahead to keep his legacy going. Yes, also during the week, a lot of things have happened in Nigeria, particularly. We have seen the 10th National Assembly being inaugurated, and principal officers elected, and activities have started. The new president, the brand new president of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has made his initial appointments, and we have seen it. A lot of things have been said. A lot of people have come with a lot of commendations and knocks in some areas, but we believe that those that have been selected must do the right thing to ensure that Nigeria moves forward. Many more people will be appointed to ensure that we'll have a newer Nigeria, better than it used to be. But that will bring me to also another thing, maybe as an advice to our commander-in-chief, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A lot of people, political jobbers, will be coming around. Those who are lobbying will be coming around to say so many things and to give so many advice, all to their own selfish interest. My prayer is that God Almighty will give you the wisdom to discern which is right and which is wrong, because any wrong decision taken will backfire on millions of Nigerians, and I believe that is not what God has put you there to do. One of the important areas to look into is the issue of security. We must ensure that wrong steps are not taken. And one thing we have always advised on this program is that we must never take political solutions for security challenges. Security challenges must be handled in a security way. Politics should be left out of security so that we can move ahead, because without security there can't be any meaningful development. And that is bringing me to the issue about the comment yesterday by Asari Dokubo about the military, senior military officials aiding and abetting or taking part in oil bunkering and other vices. I will tell you of a truth that the most important thing to do is not to say it, but please, we would like him to name the names, mention those names, so that actions can be taken. But for what I know, there have been a lot of fight against this by the military personnel, military officers. So how can you fight the house if you are part of it? That really is a question and a poser to be answered. I'm sure that that should be investigated, that should be looked into. But for the Nigerian Navy and the whole armed forces, I know that the leadership are against anybody who is involved in such act. But we wait to see what will be the reaction of the security forces. on this issue. Yes, to today's program, I know that I would not have enough time. I have a guest with me who will be helping me to look at the issue. The question is security in Nigeria, what can be done to make it much better than it is? And I'm sure he's ready and willing to share his views on what should be done. But let's take some of these reports. The first one is from the Nigerian Army, where Shirley Daniels has put together some of the activities done by the Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya. Sit back.
In continuation with his drive to win the hearts and minds of Nigerians towards cordial relationship and support for the Nigerian Army, the Chief of Army Staff, Nigerian Army, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, has commissioned another of the Chief of Army Staff Special Intervention projects in Katsina State. This project, which is the newly constructed 4 blocks of classrooms, renovation of the school's assembly hall, provision of extra 100 classroom chairs, and 2,000 copies of exercise books for the Government Day Secondary School, Malumfashi in Katsina State. While commissioning the projects, General Yahya appreciated the project executor, Major General Sani Mohammed, the Chief of Training Army, for a job well done.
The Chief of Army Staff Special Intervention Civil Military Cooperation Project was introduced to provide support to communities of serving Nigerian Army senior officers across the nation who, through dedication to duty and service to the nation, have risen to the enviable rank of Major General in the Nigerian Army. The projects are to complement the already existing basic services, amenities, and infrastructure of the state in these communities. Some of the projects executed across the country so far include construction and rehabilitation of hospitals and schools, construction of community town halls, sinking of boreholes, computer-based examination centers, and construction of roads, among several others. In sustaining this laudable gesture and in line with one of my cardinal pillars of my vision, I approve the sustaining of the Chief of Army Staff Special Intervention Civil Military Cooperation Project across the country. It was therefore heartwarming that we are here today to commission one of such projects in Malumfashi in honor of Major Sani Gambo Mohammed, the Chief of Training Army. The Nigerian Army under my watch will continue to pursue both kinetic and non-kinetic lines of operation in collaboration with other services and security agencies to improve on the security situation across the country, while also sustaining cordial relationship with our host communities.
It is hoped that with similar projects as these dotting across several communities in Nigeria, citizens will become more receptive to the Nigerian Army, which will in turn help to engender a secured nation. Shirley Daniels, reporting for Security Watch Africa.
Welcome back. Yes, I will quickly go to the report put together by Elizabeth Tanko on the World Hydrographic Day 2023. Really, hydrography is very, very important. The last hydrographic map or survey of Nigerian waters was done in the 18th century by the British Empire. So the last 2 years, the Nigerian Navy Hydrographic Department having carried out the mapping and the charting of the Nigerian waters. And there's so much sweet and good stories to celebrate about what the Nigerian Navy is doing in our waters. Sit back as we bring you this report by Elizabeth Tanko.
A hydrographic or navigational chart is a graphic representation of sea region or water body and adjacent coast or banks. To this end, the Nigerian Navy is set to unveil 7 additional navigational charts as part of activities to mark the 2023 World Hydrographic Day celebration in Nigeria. The event is scheduled to hold in Abuja on the 21st June 2023. This was disclosed during a media briefing to herald the commencement of activities marking the 2023 World Hydrographic Day celebration in Nigeria by the Chief of Policy and Plans, Rear Admiral Suleiman Seidu Garba, who represented the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awa Zubeiru Gambo.
The 2023 World Hydrography Day will focus on one of the applications of hydrographic data sets towards sustainable management and use of the ocean. This aptly captured in the theme of the day, which is hydrography underpinning the digital twin of the ocean.
Rear Admiral Garba speaks further on the activities lined up for the 2023 World Hydrographic Day celebration in Nigeria.
Throughout this week, precisely from today, 14th to 20th of June 2023, awareness lectures on hydrography with emphasis on how to develop the digital twin of the ocean for Nigeria will be delivered to selected secondary schools in Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Kano. The awareness lectures are aimed at arousing the interest of young minds to consider picking up career in hydrography so that we can have enough human capacity to provide quality hydrographic service delivery to Nigeria's policymakers and mariners alike.
Furthermore, the hydrographer, Rear Admiral Chukwuemeka Okafor, said the Navy had done a lot in the area of hydrographic survey in Nigeria.
In March this year, we unveiled about 20 charts covering River Niger from Lokoja to the Atlantic Ocean through River Ramos and Forcados River. That survey was done last year. Again, during the press briefing, you are told that 7 charts will be unveiled next week during the plenary, linking Ondo State to Lagos. That is River Alape from Ilaje to Apapa in Lagos. So that axis has also been surveyed this year, and the chart has been produced already.
He added that, due to the vastness of the Nigerian waters, the surveying operations of the Nigerian Navy is still ongoing.
Survey is a continuous thing that will never stop. We have not surveyed even up to half of Nigeria's waters as of today because of how vast it is. But suffice to say that we are making good progress.
The World Hydrographic Day is set aside to sensitize more people on the necessity and the values it brings to every nation. Elizabeth Anko, reporting for Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. Yeah, for time, we must also quickly take you to the Defense Headquarters, where the bi-weekly media briefing on the activities of the Nigerian Armed Forces took place. Elizabeth Tanko again was there. Sit back.
At the Defense Headquarters bi-weekly press briefing this Thursday in Abuja, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Musa Damadami, said the armed forces remains unrelenting in their efforts to eliminate the activities of terrorists and other criminals in the various states of the country. While stating out the progress recorded in kinetic and non-kinetic operations in the country, the director said troops have made significant breakthrough in the interception and arrest of bandits, logistics suppliers, and informants at different locations in Nigeria.
Troops arrested 40 Boko Haram and Islamic State of West African Province terrorist logistics suppliers at different locations within the theater of operation. Equally, on 7th June 2023, troops raided a suspected gun runner resident at Castle Town in Castle local government area of Taraba State. During the operation, troops arrested one suspect and recovered 39 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition and the sum of 10,563,000 naira only.
He further spoke on the achievement recorded from other theaters of operations.
Troops in the north-central zone of the country have sustained the aggressive posture towards terrorists, bandits, and other social vices. Notably, on 1st June 2023, following intelligence reports on Islamic State of West African Province terrorist activities, troops conducted operations at Iraq Penic community along Lokoja Kaba, Okene, in Okene local government area of Kogi State. Troops of Operation Hadarin Daji and other operations in the northwest zone of the country have sustained their commitment and resilience in the fight against terrorists, bandits, and other criminal activities in the joint operational area. Specifically, on 1st January 2023, troops conducted offensive operations to Shamushel village in Birindi Magaji local government area of Zamfara state, where several terrorist camps and hideouts were identified and made contact with the terrorists. Following the operations, troops brutalized 3 terrorists, arrested 2 suspects, and recovered 1 PKT machine gun, 91 rounds of 7.62mm NATO ammunition, and 4 AK-47 rifles.
The director also highlighted on the arrest of 17 illegal miners by Operation Udoka and also the raid of drug peddlers hideout in Enugu South local government area of Enugu State, where 6 suspects were arrested and recoveries made.
Following information about the activities of illegal miners at some communities within Ihiala local government area of Anambra State, troops raided these locations and arrested 17 illegal miners, while 4 excavators, 7 tipper vehicles, 1 generating set, 6 automotive gas oil jerrycans, and 2 motorcycles were recovered at these mining sites.
Major Jadam Madami commended the troops and acknowledged the media for their continued cooperation.
I wish to once again convey the Military High Command commendation on the unrelenting effort and resilience of troops and other security agents in the various theater of operations across the country. The press, the media community is also acknowledged for their partnership and continued cooperation with the military and other security agents in our quest to restore peace and security to our dear country.
Elizabeth Tanko, reporting for Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. Yes, this brings us to our discussion for the day. Already, my guest is here with me. He's Chimeziem Anyadike, who is a social commentator and an analyst on issues of the public interest. It's a pleasure to have you again in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, quickly, because of time. In my opening, I did talk about encouraging Mr. President to be wary and be careful at this period, because a lot of people will say a lot of things. Looking at what we have seen the last 1 week, how will you describe it? What would you say about security in Nigeria?
Well, I think, as I always say, the commander-in-chief always has his work cut out for him. And one of the things I always, like you rightly pointed out, being very careful and wary of some of these jobbers, some of these opportunists, some of these political, should we call them maestros, that always want to take advantage of maybe some lapses or some perceived weaknesses on the part of a commander-in-chief. But one thing I always say is that a commander-in-chief should always demonstrate strength. If you are taking charge of a situation, you should take charge of it and own it. Whatever comes out of it, you should be able to take full responsibility for it. So I think that our security framework has always been on the upward trend, and I believe that if he does not in any way try to, I don't want to use the word tamper, like transform without understanding the how these things are done, I think it would, be a problem. But I know that Asiwaju is someone that has a lot of sagacity. He doesn't hastily jump into things without credible and verifiable intelligence. So I believe that he has his work cut out for him, and so far so good.
Yeah, because coming to, you just pointed out the area of being very meticulous in, yes. Some people have talked about, a new president, a new government, appointing new sets of people and everything, starting afresh. But especially in security, I think that, I don't know what is your view. Should it be like the way, just flush out everybody and start afresh?
It would be a serious problem if he goes that way. I remember when the former president was still the commander-in-chief and people were clamoring for him to quickly change the service chiefs. And he said something very instructive, that this is his background. This is where he came from. And he understands the psychology, the mindset of some of the, of the personnel in this particular sector of the nation, so that there is a way you don't just jump into things and start slashing and dividing and conquering. No, he said you have to follow them with a lot of wisdom and understanding, but still show that you are in charge. Yeah. Still make sure that you are the boss. So I believe that Mr. President should not hastily jump into replacement, sacking, and all of that. Yes, I know that he has verifiable intelligence that guides the decisions and choices that he makes. But when it concerns our security infrastructure, I will always say, if it is not broken, don't try to fix it. Just move along, identify areas of weaknesses that you can modify, that you can quickly provide solutions to, and keep moving on. If their performance, and I believe that their performance has been very sterling, apart from one or two, issues that have happened within the past 2 weeks and all of that, I believe that what needs to be done is to provide a sense of direction and diligently ensure that they toe that path. But if he comes in with, the sword, slash, divide, and all of that, no, I don't think he'll just have a lot of disgruntled and fearful and suspicious elements that would start thinking about how to quickly, start doing some very strange and funny things.
And that is not allowed in security, because because one of the things about security which a lot of people don't understand is that if I tell because I like your face and I like the way you talk, and say come and command a system, that may not work out and effectively. It takes somebody who is actually totally meticulous and understand the system. Right. Yeah, because a lot of things, like you pointed out in the last 2 weeks, I want to look into it. Because looking at the last 2 weeks, yes, I know that the pressure in the southeast has reduced. Northeast has almost non-existent again. Northwest almost non-existent. North Central seems to be having one or two issues of some attacks and some kidnappings that we have had. But tell me, what do you think should be done in this area? Because we need to make every Nigerian feel safe.
Yes.
What would you say to this?
Yes, okay. I believe that one thing is, I always say that security is everybody's responsibility. And I think that our security infrastructure ought to be encouraged as well. We have registered huge successes in practically every area of the country. Like you mentioned, the Northeast. I was telling someone the other day that was saying some very funny things. I said, you seem to have forgotten that there are no suicide bombings anymore in Nigeria. You can't hear about ISWAP or Boko Haram attacks in the Northeast. You don't hear such things again. You go to the Southeast. The other day, I read somewhere that the Southeastern governors have come together to develop a framework to improve the fortunes of the Southeast. I believe it's something that Mr. President has encouraged them to do. And I also like people to understand that our governors are also directly responsible for our security.
Thing we are missing.
Yes, so when it comes to the North Central, yes, of course, we know that we've had this issue of banditry and militia attacks that have been disguised mostly as Fulani herdsmen attack. So one of the things I understand that these governors have decided to rise up to the occasion for is to ensure that they take the bull by the horns and also develop, adequate security frameworks, encourage community policing, equip the Nigerian police formations within their states, also ensure that citizens have that confidence in security personnel to come report issues, to come report suspicious movements and the likes. If this is done, if the governors participate actively in this, I'm very certain that some of these things we've been hearing about would either disappear completely or be reduced to a very bare minimum.
Yeah, is it because I like when you pointed out this issue about the role of the governors, because a lot of people seem to pay more attention in the federal government and all that. the governors are chief security officers of their states.
Yes.
I know that some governors, for being lazy, will say, no, they don't control the armed forces, they don't control police, so they can't do much. But there's what they call social security. Maybe when you take care of the people, then there won't be any security problem. Well, I don't know whether you agree with it.
Yes, I do. Like I said, because there is nothing prevents the governor of a state from giving instructions or writing to the police formations.
Yeah.
These are formations in your territory. So it is your responsibility to ensure that you provide guidance, and security for the people within your territory.
We're getting signal to actually leave, but really, I'm sure you have touched that area, because it's very important for us to get our security right. I will continue this discussion by next week, because we must exhaust it so that the new government, will see a direction that will help them to move ahead. Thank you. It's a pleasure having you once again.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, if you are joining us, this is your program, Security Watch Africa, where we talk security and safety. Unfortunately, we have to leave other programs to continue. But if you have enjoyed watching us, you can follow us on all our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Watch the previous editions and give us a feedback on what you feel about it. But because our role here is to give you that information, but we want to hear from you. Feel free and do that. Until next week, when we come your way again, as a task force, stay tuned and bye for now.